then also how long you've been in the business. And if you're in the business yet, just kind of go with that. Yep, you go.
Right. Name's Seth Lavender. I'm from Edgerton, Ohio. I've been in the business for a year and some odd months, probably 2 months.
Okay.
Bud Truitt from Jonesville, Michigan. Me and my wife, Mary, have been in now for about 18 months. I'm a Ruby in the company, wife's an Emerald. We're pushing to get her to Diamond by the end of the month. We had a gal that signed up at the end of February, and the wife went over and she did a party, and she's like, come on. She's like, nah, they're not even interested. Next day we got on the computer, and
She was
the
in
gal
the
had already
She told
signed.
me about that.
She had already signed up. So, and this gal, she is
Ready.
blowing this thing up. She's in Jackson, Michigan today, blitzing like crazy because she found an event. So
That's amazing. That's awesome.
My name's Matt Peterson. My wife's Kathy. I've been in the business for about a year and a half
Awesome.
And I'm Brian Houlihan. We're from Reading, Michigan. It'll be 2 years May.
What, 19 months?
What I love about the men that are up here right now is they actually have different things going on. You actually got into the business first, correct?
No, actually, I was in the business.
But you actually worked the business. So Allie was in the business first, and then you jumped in right away.
Yes.
You were on board from day one. When she came home and told you about this, how did you feel about what she just told you? Did you believe right away? Did you want to try it?
I mean, I supported her no matter what. So I didn't care if it didn't work. I didn't care if it did.
Yeah.
I mean, if she wanted me to do it, I was going to do it.
Gotcha. Just going over women's hearts all over America.
That's why we love Seth.
Just put on Facebook and how many likes there's going to be. So, tell me a little bit about, because I think I know there's men probably right now on this panel that want to know, and men in here listening, and people that want to go home to their husbands and say, this is what I want to do to grow the business. You've been active in it as far as you get out there and you build this business. You're not just sitting on the sidelines. You're actually doing this business. So talk a little bit about... Oh, sorry. Basically, I'm trying to ask him about... I wish we could all move closer. Microphone next time.
Bigger hotel.
Just explain to everybody, what do you do as a man for this business? Do you find it difficult that you're a man doing it, or has it not been? And have there been no barriers for you?
I mean, you're always going to have girls that don't want to be wrapped by men. So kind of take a lady with you to wrap them. But it's really no different. I mean, just work the business. Do what they tell you to do, and you will make it.
Yeah. And you agree, right, Brian?
Yeah. I mean, at first I think because as a husband and wife, I mean, we actually wanted to go out and do the parties together to actually show, that there's couples starting. And I think a lot of our group actually have, husband and wives, and very strong foundation. So, I mean, kind of when we first started, her rule was like, okay, I'll wrap all the women, and you wrap the guys. This is how we're going to do it. But I think as, our business started growing, and she started traveling, she was I don't care, because start wrapping all those ladies, I really don't care, But but at first it was still kind of a little awkward at first, but I think what I've learned from a lot of men is that this is a business. If you treat them with respect, that they treat the women with respect, because it's just cloth, just wrap them.
Well, if you think about it, if you think about your plastic surgeons and your gynecologists, most of them are men. So if you walk in and do it, I think as men, if you just treat it as a very professional, I mean, don't crack a joke like, hey, baby. That's going to ruin it. But if you're really professional, I think nobody's going to second guess it. This is your business. It's the way you're acting. Now, you said get out there and do what everybody else does. What we're telling you here. Do you blitz constantly?
I don't blitz. I need to blitz, but I need to get out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
Basically, like I'm actually terrified to be up here right now.
You're doing good.
But yeah, I need to go out and blitz and do all that.
So what are some of the ways you've done, what have you done to build the business?
I utilize Facebook a lot. Like,
That's
that,
huge.
yeah, it's free. Why not? Use it.
Are you just pulling people in by different posts that you're putting out there? Like, are you guys talking about the products? Are you talking about what you're doing in the company? Or are you specifically hitting people up? Like a friend
Well,
you know or...
I have a lot of people on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, there's days that I just go through my whole Facebook friends and I'll just message them and be like, hey.
They're the crazy rat thing?
Yeah. And a lot of them talk back, some of them don't. Some of them get interested, some of them don't get back to you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I don't actually give up until they actually tell me no.
Yeah. Gotcha. That's
Right on.
I think men also, you said the key word. Until you hear the word no, absolutely not, then don't leave them alone.
Even then, it's just a not right now. They'll come around.
Until the police are knocking on your door with a
Just the other day, I was talking to somebody like months ago when I first started, and they're like, "Well, no, I'm not really interested." And then just the other day, he messaged me and he's like, "Okay, tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
I want to know more."
Yeah.
And he's interested in being a distributor.
That's amazing.
That's kind of the same thing, I talked about the other day, is that they always say, people are watching you. They may not ever like any of your posts. They may not ever even know that you're seeing them. So, about 2 weeks ago, I was like a Friday night, and all of a sudden, she's actually friends with my brother. I said, Marge contacted people, and she goes, hey, I'm Friday night, and I don't even know her husband thing. I mean, I've met her once in like 10 years. And she goes, instead of actually looking at the Dibber's global site, we're interested in the wraps. She was like, I know you. I'd much rather go through you. Because, what can you do for me? I want some wraps. And I'm like,
He was freaking out.
So after almost 18 months, someone actually contacted me, not Elizabeth. It was actually a woman contacted me about wanting to be wrapped. And I said, so have you been following it? Because social media is a cool thing. So obviously, for almost 18 months, she's been watching what we've been doing, because she's friends with the family, whatever, but just, it does work, so they do watch what you're doing.
You're going to start having a lot more of that, guys.
Right.
Because as this starts getting more known and more seen, oh my gosh, you are going to have people that have been waiting for that okay. And the okay is they don't want to be the first one and they don't want to look silly. Mm-hmm. But when they start hearing it from the people around them and seeing it more, now it's credible. Now they want to try it. So before you were crazy, and now you're, I want to try that thing now. It'll start happening more and more.
Just like that video.
Yeah, just like the video that we watched earlier with that crazy guy dancing. It's going to be the same way. It will happen. It happens with everything. History repeats itself, and if you look back at everything through history, that's what happens. Is it starts out and everyone thinks you're crazy, just like walking on the moon, right? No one thought that could be done, and to hear about it sounded ludicrous, and now we all know it's been done, and it's a common thing. Every country's walked on the moon. The same thing with this product. The world was flat. How many people thought the world was flat forever and ever until somebody had to go prove that it was round? It's the same thing here. This product works, it's coming, and it's crazy. It's getting crazy, I think. It's getting a lot easier, too. But you guys have been in for a little while now. You were on board right away. I remember meeting you. We had an actual meeting at Elizabeth's house, pastor, and everybody came, and we did a thing. And you guys from day one were definitely involved. You were involved with it from day one, supportive. What's your role with it in the business? I know you go, I love how you said that with Elizabeth. You guys went to parties together. And Barry's now starting to come with me to parties. And it's great because the men are starting to come in the room too. Like if the husband's there, even if it's just the husband, he's like coming in. So I know you guys go to parties together. Now, do you kind of take a role in them?
Generally, what I do, like if we go to a party and stuff, they're usually rapping the women. Plus, the woman don't mind if I rap them. Marilee even tell him, she said, he can better rap you better than I can.
Sweet.
Because, I have watched her, we've done it enough and stuff, and I've rapped her a few times, and I've learned how to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can wrap somebody good and tight. But I start talking about all the products. You know, I'll tell if, you know, somebody's back there, you know, and somebody asks a question, man, I can tell them about the products and stuff, you know, and she's back there taking care of the women's stuff, and I say, you know, if I don't have an answer for you, I can get one.
Yeah.
So it kind of works both ways, so it kind of speeds our parties up. That generally,
You can help out too.
Yeah.
And then, because there are a lot of products on that pamphlet that we don't get to cover with the party pad. So that's the other thing too, when you're taking people with you, while you're rapping and stuff, even when I take other girls with me, they can start answering questions for people, so that's cool too. And Matt, I was just wondering with you, you actually play a role that most of your men will play in the beginning, which is the kind of supportive role, making sure that stuff gets done so Kathy can be freed up to get out there and do this business. Tell us a little bit about like what you've taken on since you started
absolutely.
the business.
As Kathy shared earlier, we've got 4 kids. So with 4 kids, there's obviously laundry, there's cleaning, there's dishes, all that kind of stuff. So really, what I've just felt, in the beginning, comfortable doing was really supporting her in that. I mean, nothing was better than to see her face when she'd come back from a party. She'd be there for a couple hours, and I'd come home and have all the laundry done, and have the the place cleaned up, have everything like that. So I feel like doing that for her, and not only does it help the business, it also helps our marriage too. So it's kind of a win-win.
Right, can you go train other husbands? You should start a service.
what the husbands got to realize is, I mean, say like, if you're out there doing it, your husband needs to step up and help out because, you can't do it all by yourself. If he's just sitting around on the couch, there's a lot of times I get up and I'll do laundry and stuff in the morning.
He's trying to get a Facebook like.
There we go.
I'm just saying, if she's out running around, there's been times she's been at things and she's like, I'm like, what time are you coming home? She's like, well, I don't know. I said, well, I need to know, when to start supper, so. But I'll get supper going.
That's awesome.
I got no problem cooking and stuff, so.
And your point too, when you said, "Hey, you need to train other men like that." Honestly, I don't know if that's something you can train a man on. Honestly, just to speak to that a little bit, if your husband or boyfriend, whoever isn't supportive, in my opinion, that's something that God has to kind of change a little bit. So pray for him. If somebody is just sitting on the couch, like you said, the nagging, that kind of stuff, that is never in a million years going to work. And if it does, they'll just do it because they don't want you to nag them anymore, or they're going to resent you, that kind of thing. So sometimes you have to start on people's hearts, and a lot of times God's a good place to start
Or
with
you
that.
start by showing him your first check.
Yeah, that works too.
I think Joe Dunn said it best at Jackson, Michigan, when he said, husbands ain't quite on board until they see that first comma. And they're like, wow, how's our business doing now?
My husband.
Our business.
Yeah.
Brian, you actually did a transition. You started out where Matt is and ended up here with the position role of, hey, I'm going to start getting out there and actually being more involved in the business.
Right.
And like with Barry, he's always been involved. From day one, he was involved before me. He made me do it. So he did. But he's always been involved from day one, and a lot of times, we've talked, because you said, I'm having a hard time finding my role, what should I do? I think the most important role, honestly, is getting that done so we can get out there and work this business so we can get you home, and then now let's do it. And that's kind of what you and Elizabeth did. You got Elizabeth retired, and then you are now jumping into business too, because that's the dream for both of you guys, to be able to do this together, travel, do this, that, and the other. So how did you transition into that? Because I know it was scary for you.
I don't think it was even. I don't know if it was as scary. It was like, I'll do a little fast forward and reverse. Like, I mean, when I first started, I was wanting to push you to do this, but it wasn't like. Because I knew her business background. It wasn't like she came to me and was like, oh, I got this business. Yeah, I'm going, whatever. But I knew when she got a hold of this, what was going to happen. But a lot of times, you realize it, but then when you actually, watch what you wish for sometimes.
Yeah,
because once you dive into it, you are full board. I mean, once you start having that success, you're not going to stop. So, you got to be prepared to do the extra things. Even though I was already working 60, 70 hours a week with crazy hours, so was she. And so when she got home from work, she then went out to the parties. So at first, I wasn't like going, like, oh, I can't do that. I can't help out. Because she was, like, that's what Bud said, as men, we got to step up because we're both working. So it wasn't like a scorecard. I mean, after I got done my job, she got done her job. She then went out for a party for 3 or 4 hours and building it. So again, I was the supportive one. I thought I was all in, but now a year and a half later, until you're really, like, fully not at your, job, you're not really fully all in. So it's kind of going into the support role and then helping with the team pages and parties with her to actually now building my group. In the last month or so, I've had 3 distributors sign on, loyal customers sign on in the system. I mean, for the most part, I was helping, but I wasn't really actively recruiting for like my own group, And so I think for a lot of men, it's great to be in that supportive role, but if you really want to, dig in and really have this thing grow, you got to really, understand the product, understand, what it is to really actually grow this business, So I don't know if it was scary, let alone just doing it.
Yeah. Once you start hearing us enough, I think then you start catching on to things. And that's the other thing I wanted to ask you guys all too. Well, for you guys, doing the business together, me and Barry butt heads. Do you guys do that?
Really? I mean, we always, our motto.
It's because they're not married yet.
We're better together.
Explain all of it. You're not married yet.
She said we're better together.
That's what our motto is. We're better together. And that's, we're on our, like, we switched our Blitz cards, because we used to have our Blitz cards, like, I had my Blitz cards, she had her Blitz cards. Now, it's both of our names.
I love that. And I think it shows people, too, that this is a couple thing. You know what I mean? Like, within a couple. It's getting more and more comfortable for men to come in and support this and be a part of it. I think sometimes it's ego, don't you guys? It's ego because the men don't want other men thinking they're supporting
It's
them.
intimidating. I mean, how many guys are, and what's the ratio?
Right.
So,
Well, usually guys like that ratio. But yeah, you know what? I think it's more. What are my friends gonna think? What are my the other husbands gonna say at work? Oh, so you're doing the dishes in the laundry and she's out just hooping it up an hour and doing some crazy casual party. I mean, this is probably what people think. So I think it would be hard to. It would be hard to be you guys. Period. And be able to do it, all of that, too. And kind of, like, giving up the travel as you start to go and doing it together. See, it's nice when you don't have any kids. Gotta say that. Because you guys can pick up and go together, but that is what's so cool about this. Isn't that cool to think about you guys doing this together, being young, going out, being able to build this together, travel together, and then when you do decide to have kids, be able to give them whatever they need. I mean, that's the coolest thing in the world. So exciting. Okay, I want you guys all to give me a couple tips for these ladies to take home to their men. Like, give me just a couple things that, it could be anything, nothing specific. Just 2 tips to get their men maybe a little bit motivated. Make their men understand that this is an amazing business. Whatever. So, Brian,
I would really, like I said, almost 18 months later, you've got to really, I don't care how long you've been married, when you're actually running a business together, there's a lot of, anyways, in a marriage, in a household with kids and everything else, but when you're actually running a business, there are roles and responsibilities. There's a lot of money to be made. And so there's got to be some very definitive roles and communication between you and your wife. What you're going to do, if you're going to support me, what kind of ways are you going to support me? If you're going to help in the house, or are you actually going to give me leads, or are you going to help me with parties, or you set my travel plans? It all really depends. So you got to have a really clear-cut plan with your husband. Figure out and not think too. If he is helping out, but he's doing what he enjoys to do, he's helping out, and you want more from him, and he's not wanting to do more, but he's still helping out, just encourage it. don't say, don't be nagging at him, is what it meant it, because he's not doing what you want to do. If you're already working both jobs, but this is the kind of next one, and he's helping out with the kids, and he's doing laundry more than what he's ever done before, but it's still, like, you want him to do more, appreciate what he's doing. Because sooner or later, if you don't, he's not going to want to do it. I don't care how much money you're making, he's going to be, we always talk about being appreciated. I mean, you can make all the money in the world, but if you really have that kind of that open relationship with your husband and wife, it's not going to work. Your marriage will work, but it actually running the business together. And that's really what ultimately what it is actually both of you actually want to spend the time together to actually grow a business. So have a really clear-cut, plan and a goal and communication of what you're going to do with the kids, time, business-wise, what's going on. If you don't have that, you'll always be in that constant conflict of, I'm doing this, she's doing that, why aren't you doing this? Well, it's not going to grow to really where you want to go.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, one thing that I've just started doing recently, and it was more of just kind of just trying to fill in the gaps. Like I said, I didn't really know I was helping out, but my wife's got a good distributor that's a friend, and there was some frustrations and things. And I just kind of stepped up and started being an accountability partner to her. And it seemed like the things that they were communicating about just really wasn't getting back and forth. And then when I stepped in, it just seemed like it was a new person, and it kind of took a little bit of the strain off the friendship and that kind of thing. So being an accountability partner to, it's not going to work obviously with everybody, but for this one particular friend of ours, it just worked a little bit better. We can communicate. She seems to hear things a little bit different. They're the same things that are being said, but maybe in a little different way. And she's got kids as well. So like even the other day, I offered it up. I said, hey, if I need to come over with my kids and watch your kids and make dinner for everybody, we're all happy. And you can go out and do, a party or meet with somebody else. I mean, and she was just, her husband isn't necessarily on board with that as far as like helping out. So if I could fill in that role for them, that's something too that, and again, that's just building the business and being kind of an encourager, like you were saying, hey, you can do it, that kind of thing. So just really trying to compliment your wife as well, as far as if there's some things that maybe they're not as good at, like technology. Kathy's not the best at technology, and hey, if I can step in and help out with technology.
Facebook, though.
Yeah. So, if there's some things that you can do, that you maybe they're not as good as this, you can step in and help. Just the little stuff, and that stuff goes a long way.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because she told me about it. I thought that was amazing, because I signed friends in the business, and we were just talking about this earlier. And sometimes, your friends or your family, they don't listen to you because you're just you. Or you're not nobody special, and you don't know what you're talking about. You used to be a waitress. I know you. My mom, she thinks I'm funny because she knows I barely graduated from high school. She's like, Lisa, you don't know. It's funny, but the thing is that that's cool, because Barry does that role as well, which is nice, because there's some people that listen to him. They just start connecting with me. So if you can start, taking on that role too as a mentor and a leader,